Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Our Shamatha meditation has to be postponed by one more day because we need to do loving kindness meditation urgently. Adveshta sarvabhutanam maitrah karuna evacha. So tomorrow morning we will do loving kindness meditation. Can we say Mother Teresa is a jnani? Everybody is a jnani. You know why? Because everybody is Atma. And ajnana or avidya, which is also called Maya, वो तो है ही नहीं. It doesn't exist. Sacha Maya na vidyate. The Mandukya Karika. So Maya jayate something sarvam. Sacha Maya na vidyate. That Maya doesn't exist. Therefore, not only Ramakrishna Paramahamsa or Vivekananda are jnanis, Ramana Maharshi is jnani, but also you are a jnani, I am a jnani, everybody is a jnani. But you have to know that. It is like a person, I tell you a story. This happened really. A person, an elderly person in Lucknow, he has some cough, and so he went to the doctor. Doctor gave some medicine and asked for blood test. In a routine way, he asked for blood test. And this old man gave the blood for testing. These laboratory people, they are very careless, and so they mixed the samples. So the number etc. gadbad ho gaya, and somebody else's blood test came to this guy, and this person's blood test went to somebody else. These things do happen. Nowadays things are better because the corporate medicine has come. They are more professionals. At one time, like 20 years back, all medicine was controlled by government, and Indian government in those socialist days was corrupt and inefficient. Mostly, and therefore government hospitals are they are a source of all kinds of wrong things. So the mix-up of blood tests is very routine thing. That is the digression part. Coming back to the story, his blood test showed that he is a TB patient. He has got this tuberculosis infection, so that it is a coincidence that the blood test and he was coughing also. Immediately he became bedridden. Till then he was just coughing now and then and moving around, but now he is unable to move anymore. He became bedridden. And then he started deteriorating day by day. And this lady, his wife, was struggling with him, doing some service, and she telephoned to her brother in Delhi, saying that my husband is sick, he is struck with diabetes, tuberculosis, and he is bedridden, and he is a doctor in Delhi. So he went to see to Lucknow, and he found how come he was a very healthy person in spite of some old age issues. How come, where from he got this tuberculosis? Then he was bedridden, very thin, lost a lot of weight, and there was indeed some cough. But he was a doctor. His brother-in-law is a doctor. And so he examined and he was doubtful. He went and found the blood report and all that. To make a long story short, he took another blood sample and tested. There was no tuberculosis. It was a wrong blood report. That is what he told him. You don't have tuberculosis. Then he got up and sat. And told his wife, I am very hungry, prepare some special food. And he ate some special food and he became normal. We are like that. You are a jnani, you are Atma, you are the bliss, you are the divinity. You have to know it. So, Saint Teresa is not an exception. So, wherever you find the compassion, love, etc., that is all divinity only. That is nothing but divinity. if one can become jnani through only love and compassion, why gain knowledge? That is knowledge. Love and compassion are not different from knowledge. You see, I was struggling to explain for the last 6 classes, so love and compassion only, so don't you think that is knowledge? That is knowledge only, you know. As long as you think karma, bhakti and jnanam are different, you don't know the secret of Gita. The secret of Gita is karma, bhakti. Bhakti is love. And jnanam are one and the same. Because you look at them as separate, you want to find out which is superior to which. They are one and the same. Swami, this is Vinoba Bhave used to say, he used to explain very beautifully. When you understand that karma, bhakti and jnanam, they resolve in the same Atma. They all resolve in Atma. And therefore, as the adhishthanam, which is Atma, they are all same. The day you realize that, your understanding of Gita will be complete. And he gave an example. Mother prepares some nice dish, some payasam, pudding or whatever, special dish she prepares and serves to her son. Is it karma or love or jnanam? What is it? It is all the three. Therefore, when you do your duty and offer it to Ishvara, you recognize, you take cognizance of that higher power which is running the show, which is the Antaryami, the inner commander or controller of the stars and galaxies, of the sun and the planets, of every life form, which is the inner commander and controller of every atom of this universe, every life form, including the plants and trees. That higher power, you take cognizance of that within you and also without, and offer your duty with love to that higher power. Is it not a combination of a coalescing of all the three? All the three have coalesced into it. Therefore, what you call karma yoga, it has karma in it, it has love, bhakti in it, and it has jnanam in it. All the three come together to make what is called karma yoga. Therefore, it is all one and the same. You don't divide like that. Why gain knowledge? Without knowledge there is no love, and there is no compassion, and there is no karma, and there is no karma yoga. So all the three, they come together. And it is the human mind, it is the pastime of the mind to divide like that and oppose. That's why karma, which is divided from jnanam, which is not blessed by jnanam, jnatva karmani kurvita, that is the shruti. But you disregard the jnanam and do karma. That karma becomes a mechanical ritual and it has no value. And if you do a karma without love, then it is a mere show, and it is a monotonous thing, mechanical thing, and there is no value in that. Similarly, you worship God without knowing anything, just belief only, then it becomes a blind belief, and it becomes a superstition. Like I was saying, I was amused by my own expression, the complex love of God promoted by the dualistic religions. That is what I was saying. And then I was thinking about it. So we are talking of simple love. You love a tender leaf, you love. Don't want to touch it, because if you touch it, it will be disturbed. The tenderness cannot stand the harsh touch of a human hand. Such tender thing it is. And you love it and you respect it. Very simple love it is. It is not the complex love of God that is talked about by these dualistic religions. Very complex love. So a person donated a crown to God made of gold. So somebody asked him, why did you give such a big amount of gold to God? He said, I love God. What a complex love it is. So this is not that complex a love. It is very simple love it is. So how can you see divinity in evil? There is no evil except in your mind. The good and evil are projected by the mind, which measures. The human mind has a yardstick in it. So you take that yardstick and apply to a given situation and decide something as good and something else as evil. Someone's good is evil is someone else's evil, and vice versa. There is good and evil in the society only when you look in terms of divisions. You identify with the body-mind and you take yourself to be belonging to a particular caste, creed, race, religion, etc. And you are a personal, the me and mine, and you have a set of values which act as a measuring standard or a measuring stick with which you judge things and divide them as good and evil. Okay? But as the measuring stick or the measuring standard changes, the good and evil also they get changed. Good is no more good, evil is no more evil. And sometimes as the measuring standard is changed, good becomes evil and evil becomes good. Therefore don't get hung upon good and evil so much. Good and evil are not absolute. You should know in Kathopanishad, the young boy asks Yama a question. What is it that is beyond good and evil? Anyatra dharmad anyatra dharmat. What is it that goes beyond good and evil? So, therefore, sarva dharman parityajya. There if you see Shankara Bhashya, adharma was already given up, now you give up dharma also. So, tyaja dharmam adharmancha. Satyanurute tyaja. There is one word missing. Tyaja dharmam adharmancha ubhe satyanurute tyaja. Then the third line, then the final line, yena tyajasi tatyaja. Therefore, you see, if you speak, then there is something is true and something is untrue. But suppose you don't speak at all, you become silent, then you are beyond satya and anuruta. If you act, then it is good or bad. Suppose you are not an actor anymore. Hatvapi sa iman lokan naiva kinchit karoti saha. Something like that in Gita, 18th chapter. Therefore, there is a level in which you talk of good and evil. That is the body and mind and the unreal world. And there is a level in which all these opposites resolve. That is Brahman, which is Atma. How does one train the mind? By knowledge. You have to know, you have to study, Shravana, and you have to reflect upon what you study, Manana, and you have to contemplate, Nididhyasana. That is how you have to train. Mind is ignorant, and you have to train the mind in the light of knowledge, the sun of knowledge. Yeah. Give up attachments means giving up all feelings and emotions, which leads to being insensitive towards the person concerned. You have misinterpreted it. So, people are emotional and sentimental. There is a thing called emotionalism. also called sentimentality. And when they are attached, they give a lot of validation to that attachment from this sentimentality. They create a lot of sentimentality around it and make the attachment look like sacred. Firstly, they are attached, which is bondage, and then put a lot of sentimentality around it, lot of religion around it, culture around it, family values around it. No, in our family, our tradition is we are attached to our children, something like that. Okay, if that is your tradition, you get attached and get bound and sit and cry. Who will stop you? Therefore, don't be carried away by this kind of wishy-washy sentimentality. So, you should not become a victim of emotions. Emotionalism has no value. There must be clarity of understanding, not emotionalism. So, when there is clarity of understanding, you are not attached to anything. When there is no attachment, then there is freedom. And when there is freedom, then there is love. So you got it wrong. When there is attachment and you make it look very sacred by bringing in a lot of sentimentality into it, then you remain attached. Then there is no freedom. Then you don't know what is love. Love is not what you are thinking. I made a statement which sounds very harsh. The parents do not know how to love their children. They just don't know. They are only attached. That is all what they are. They don't know what is love. They have yet to know it. So, you see, parents want to fulfill their desires through their children. Like the father wanted to become an engineer, but he could not, for whatever reason. And then he wants to make his son an engineer. The son, whether he wants to become an engineer or not, is not important at all. It is irrelevant. Now he has to become the engineer. And I worship a God and my son should worship the same God, the same way. And I carry a family name, my son should carry the same family name. So you think you are loving your children, you don't love. You just want to possess them, dominate them. And when they react, you are in sorrow. I ask you a question, there is an acid test. In a given relation, if you experience pain, that is attachment. If you experience joy, that is love. Therefore, you check your relation, whether it gives you pain or not. If it is giving pain to you, that means it is not love, because love will never give pain. Only attachment gives pain. Anyway, to make it simple, don't be so emotional about it. Is it right to be insensitive? That is not the insensitivity. Becoming emotional is sensitivity, and becoming free from emotions and having a clarity of understanding is insensitivity. What kind of definition? You got it wrong. Sensitivity, I have told you what is sensitivity. You are so sensitive to life that you don't even touch a plant. You don't put anything into the river because you are sensitive to the purity of water. You don't put anything into the river. And so that is the sensitivity, not emotionalism. You are mistaking sensitivity as emotionalism. No. How do you handle this issue? It is not an issue, you got it wrong. You have to listen to the class one more time. Can you teach us loving kindness meditation? Yes, we will do it tomorrow. why there is constant fight between Dvaita and Advaita? No, there is no fight. Avirodham nibodhata. There is no fight. Once I went to the Hare Krishna temple in Mahalakshmi, Bombay. My train was in the evening, and so this was the place which is nearby. I took a local and went to the temple. And then the Swami there invited me for lunch. I said, I will take lunch. I have to take lunch somewhere. So instead of looking for food here and there, I can as well have some nice food there. In fact, my idea of going was food only. Then when I went there, they were kind of Hare Krishna and they were all swaying. So the Swami invited me, come. So I joined the group. Normally we say Hare Rama, but they are saying the other way. So I joined them, it doesn't matter. And then he gave a small talk also. In that talk, he said Shankara is a Mayavadi. Why he wanted Shankara, I don't know. Why he brought out the issue of Shankara. Maybe that is how they talk on a regular basis. I don't know. That day he talked about Shankara as a Mayavadi. I just listened to it and I did not respond to it in any way. While eating the food, he asked, did you listen to my talk? Yeah, I listened. How do you say? Shankara is a Mayavadi, isn't it? I said, Shankara talks about Maya. He is not a Mayavadi. Then what is he? He is Brahmavadi. Brahmavadino vadanti. We are Brahmavadis, not Mayavadis. While talking about Brahma, we do mention Maya as a passing reference. So you just can't give a label like that. Then I told him, why do you go by labels? You look at a person or see what is he talking, whether there is any point in it, you should go by that. You should not give labels like that. Because by the time you give a label, that clouds your thinking. You are not open anymore. Therefore, don't give labels. That is what I said. He smiled and kept quiet. Therefore, we don't have a virodha. Avirodhan nibodhata. Mandukya. Therefore, Advaita is not opposite to Dvaita. The Dvaitins are opposite to each other. Parasparam virudhyante. Tairayam na virudhyate. This is all from Mandukya Karika. The Dvaita people, they fight with each other. Look at the history of Indian religion, Hindu religion, in south at least, in Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, in those areas, there was a bitter fight between Vaishnavites and Shaivites for centuries. The literature is full of these fights. In fact, a voluminous Shiva Purana is written sometime in the 15th century. They put the name of Vyasa, that doesn't mean anything. Sometime in the 15th century it was written as a reaction to the spreading Vaishnavism. To check Vaishnavism, the Shiva Purana is written. And then Basava Purana, in Telugu it came, it is not in Sanskrit. It is written by Palkuriki Somanatha, a Telugu poet. It was written somewhere in the Varangal area, Basava Puranam, in which Vishnu is presented as a villain, through and through a villain. And then there is a poet in Karnataka by name Sri Krishna Devaraya, the king of Hampi kingdom. He was a poet. He wrote a poem in Telugu, very popular, Amuktamalyada. Some of you must have heard the name, in which he says most vituperative statements against Shiva. This is how the Dvaitins are. Just I gave you one example. And then you go to Jerusalem. The worst contradiction was Jews and Muslims. They are supposedly the people of the book. Both are people of the book. both have the same patriarch called Abraham. Abraham is Brahma, but they don't think about it. Same Abraham, he is the patriarch. There is the grave of Abraham in the town of Hebron, and they fight for that space so much that many people were killed. And today, that Hebron, there is an arrangement. It is called a time-sharing arrangement, in which that patriarch of Abraham's grave is there. Grave means they put a building around it, and Muslims pray at one time and Jews pray at some other time, the same grave, same area. This is the time-sharing arrangement. That is what the government has put in place. They hate each other to the core. This is how the Dvaita, very interesting. The enigmatic thing is, both religions are having so much in common. Like they write from right to left, the book starts from the other end. They have a long beard, and they don't keep the mustache. And like that, in many ways, the Jews and Christian Muslims are alike, but they hate each other so much in Jerusalem. This is the story of dualists. That is how Dvaita is. In India, you have Vaishnavas and Shaivas. They hate each other to the maximum. In those days. Nowadays, the civilization has improved and things differ. Even now, they don't like. Like they tolerate a Swami like me. If I go to a Vaishnava temple, they tolerate me. They would love to throw me out, but they don't do that, because we are in a democratic country and all that. Therefore, this is how things are. Whereas Advaita is, they love everybody. They are not a particular religion people. They are beyond religion. They are spiritual people. Avirodhan nibodhata. All people are Atma. There is nobody is enemy. There is no enemy at all. All are Atma. That is Advaita. Therefore, there is no fight between Dvaita and Advaita. There is fight between Dvaita and Advaita only. You have to listen to some of the Mandukya teachings. There this topic was discussed. Don't you see at least a few people could have purity in heart? You see, purity in heart is a different thing. Atma is a different thing. Heart is mind. Not all are pure in heart. Only very few are pure in heart. Blessed are those who are pure in heart, for they come to know God. Therefore, purity of heart is a different thing. Atma is a different thing. All are Atma, but all are not pure in heart. So you should not confuse the two. They might following different path, but following same destination. I don't deny that. You see, all human beings are striving for the same truth, but they don't know it. They don't know it, you know. They don't know it. They have to know it. And so, it is all about knowing. Therefore, Advaita is not opposed to anything. Because there is no second, you know, there is no second reality. If something second is there, which is real, then you have to oppose it. It is all a mithya world, it is. It is all a projection of the mind, so there is nothing to oppose. Atma is the same in all. I heard about Muktimala book of quotations. It was a very good book. The gentleman writes, I agree with it. Where is the book? Now the copies are over. There are no copies. I remember of getting 3,000 copies printed. And last year I did not go to US, but till before last year, every year I was going and also taking a few copies, quite a few copies to US. And many copies were used in India also. Now there are no copies. And then whether to get it printed, some of our students there back in Hyderabad, they were always talking about it. Why not get it printed? Why not get it printed? Our Nageshwar has made the arrangement. Our Nageshwar is there. Please stand up one time. Yeah, now you may sit down. He is a wonderful person. He studied Vedanta for more than 2 decades. And he speaks in Telugu. But when he speaks in Telugu, he speaks wonderful Vedanta. You have to listen to it. Those who know Telugu will be able to appreciate. He studied all the 8 chapters of Chandogya Upanishad. And also a lot more. And he put together all these teachings from the classes. And he made a good job of it. Even he was asking me the other day, why not print one more time? So I was discouraging, because if you print again, you have to keep them. And then you have to, I have a rule not to give book free. Because the reason is, Swami Vivekananda said, don't give book free. You give it for a reasonable price, don't give it free. Therefore, I follow that rule. Even in Ramakrishna Mission, they follow it. They don't give books free. They take a small price, very small price they take. They are not booksellers. They are not in profit. They are not for profit in it. So I did not do it. And our Shuddhanandaji told, we will print it here. And so I already started that. One book in Telugu was over, the book copies were over. I did not have the heart to get it printed again. Because when I print it, so many copies will come, 1,000 copies. So some 20 boxes will be there. Now I have to keep these boxes in some place safely. I am a single man army. I do all these boxes, I keep them, I carry them. Once I have hurt my shoulder also in carrying these book boxes. I do everything myself, physically. And therefore I was doing it like that. So I did not have the energy to do some more of that. And then the whole place is filled with these boxes. And now you have to see to it that they get distributed. And you get money out of it. And you have to handle that money also. Already I get a lot more money than I feel comfortable with. And I handle that money, and now some more money will come. Then why don't you give free? I should not give free because Vivekananda told not to give free. So it is still under consideration. I don't know. I was wondering whether to hand over to our friends here. Then in Hrishikesh, they don't have a good book printing system. I don't know how it is in Dehradun, but Hrishikesh was disappointing. One book I have done. It is already done. The books have come and they are available. Telugu books. Quite a big book. Bhagavata Saptahamu. I made 1200 copies and they are all gone. Now they have made 500 copies. And I was doing that work. I was guiding it all through. Because it is a Telugu thing also. It is a bit frustrating. The printing arrangement in Hrishikesh is a bit frustrating because they are not professional like the way they are in Hyderabad. There they were very professional people, not here. These people are at least 20 years behind in their operations, very inefficient and all that. Therefore, that itself makes me a bit unhappy and I lose enthusiasm because you have to prod them and you have to catch them at every stage of mistakes that they do. So you have to do a good job, a thorough job. It is not very encouraging here. I wanted to ask, is there a better arrangement in Dehradun? Let us try Dehradun one time. That is what I wanted to ask. Then you may wonder, why not print it in Hyderabad? When you print it in Hyderabad, transporting here is a problem. There are transporting agencies, but taxes and shifting the commercial merchandise from one state to, you have to shift it through multiple states over 1600, 1700 kilometers distance. and there will be many checkpoints in between. This is all bureaucracy, and now I have to go behind the bureaucrats in Hyderabad. I don't have the heart for all that. Therefore, in a way I am done with these things. I have done for 2 decades. Now I am not very keen about it. Therefore, these things are lagging behind. I hope someday they will come. What is the significance of saffron robe? The saffron color, it represents 2 things. The color is significant, Like already I told you the color code for Sattva, Rajas, Tamo gunas. So the saffron color stands for the rising sun, sun is light, which is knowledge. And also it stands for the fire in which oblations are poured. That is the renunciation. You pour oblations means you renounce. Therefore, it stands for Agni, which is Tyaga, renunciation. And also it stands for the rising sun, which is light of knowledge. That is the saffron robe. If there was no religious following till 750 AD, why at all it commenced? You see, I did not say there was no religious following. I was saying a religious identity was not there till 750 AD. They were studying Veda and following the religion of the Vedas without calling them as a particular religious identity distinct from other religious groups. That kind of a religious identity was not there till 750 AD. Then it came. It is something like when all pots are blue, you don't call it a blue pot. You call it a blue pot only when other red pots and yellow pots are there. Similarly, there was no religious identity because there were no religions like Islam, Christianity, etc. They were not there. Even Vaishnavism and Shaivism within the Hindu fold were not there. They were all followers of Vedic vision, and gradually people moved away from Vedic vision, from Shruti, and they came to Smruti, which is Purana and other texts of Smruti, and then the divisions started. Shruti is a uniting vision, whereas Smruti, more often than not, is a dividing element. Therefore, when the vision of Shruti takes a backseat and the Smruti becomes more prevalent, then the divisions happen. And a religious identity, for that matter any identity, implies a division. Without division, there is no identity. Identity implies a division. So, you got the point? That is how it happened. There is a book, recently I was reading it, and I have a review about that book with me. In my bag it is there. Maybe for one of the satsangs I will bring it. In that book, he is a researcher, and they do research and come out with this thesis. So he was proving with all proofs, archaeological and other literature, evidences of literature, etc., that there was no religious identity as it is known today before 750 AD. By 750 AD, the Islamic invasion has started. Already Muhammad Ghori, etc., they have come and destroyed the Somnath temple, and already a few pockets of Islam was already established in India. And then a pocket or two of Christianity was also established in Goa. Even one of the apostles must have come to Goa, Saint Xavier. So when these religious groups, which have a particular identity, they started proliferating, then these identities have become crystallized. Particularly the Shaivism, Vaishnavism divisions have become prominent in the 10th century and later. So, if you come to Telangana, you will find many villages and towns named after Shaivism, like Rudraram, Sadashivapeta, like that many places, which are all hotbeds of Shaivism at one time, because Basava Purana came from those areas. It was a reaction to Vaishnavism coming from Tamil Nadu. So like that, Tamil Nadu was the springboard of Vaishnava cults. So this is how the religious identities got crystallized in the medieval period, at the beginning of the medieval period. Indian history, 200 BC to 600 AD, it is called Golden Age, Swarna Yuga. You see, the other day Kali Yuga, etc. came. I am not very keen about that. There is a period called Swarna Yuga, Madhya Yuga. Swarna Yuga is a golden age. That is 200 BC to 600 AD. That is when we had Kalidasa, Shankaracharya, Varahamihira, Aryabhata, Vikramaditya the king. Like that, all these luminaries were there in that period. And Indian civilization was at its zenith. That is the golden age. And afterwards came medieval period. That is where the Hinduism has seen its downfall. And then we have Renaissance, Hindu Renaissance, starting with Swami Vivekananda's lecture in the Parliament of Religions in Chicago. Very interestingly, Hindu Renaissance started in Chicago. Really. So this is how we look at it, look at history. Not Kali Yuga, this Yuga, that Yuga. This is the way we look at it. So with some such a background understanding, I have said what I said. Okay? Is Svarga 7 up and down in Shastra? What Shastra? Everything is there in Shastra. Everything is there. Like 4 elephants carry the earth on their shoulders. That is there in the Shastra. And 1 tortoise carries the earth on its back. That is there in the Shastra. A serpent with 1,000 heads carries the earth on its hoods. Also is there on the Shastra. So the Shastra is a very unspecific word. Everything is there in the Shastra. So Swarga is there in the Shastra. 7 up and down. This is the vertical model. Vertical model. These models are not valid models. That vertical model means layer after layer after layer. That is not the model. The universe is not stacked like that. It is not a stack. Universe is a sphere. It is called Brahmanda, Anda. It is not even a sphere. It is an ellipsoid. Universe is like an egg, ellipsoid. And Anda, you know, Anda is egg. Therefore, this is the earth. And the space is not earth. Swarga. It is not a stacking. Earth and like that. That is the way you have to understand the universe. These models you have to give up. It is high time you pick up some scientific understanding and give up these silly models, stacking up. There is a book called History of Time by Stephen Hawking. In the very first few pages, he narrates an anecdote, which I told earlier. So, this model is presented by somebody in a lecture hall. Earth, heaven, they are all stacked like that. And so this stack has to be held by someone, you know. Someone has to hold this stack, otherwise it will fall down. So, then a tortoise holds this stack on its back. The tortoise has a strong back, Now you can understand why tortoise is important. You cannot say a rat holds it or a mouse holds it because they have a very soft back. A tortoise has the right kind of back to hold all this weight. And then a lady gets up and asks, this happened. Stephen Hawking was giving a lecture and he was mentioning this vertical model, and then he was saying about this tortoise, a lady, and he asked a question. If we have to accept this model, somebody has to tell us who holds the tortoise in place. And then a lady got up and said, don't you know this much? They are all tortoises all the way down. That is what she said. Therefore, these models you have to give up. It is high time you give up. You be a scientific. Science is knowledge, jnanam. The word science, it's a Latin root, etc. If you see, and if you see the word Veda, Veda jnane, they have the same root, same connotation. Therefore, this vertical model you have to dismiss. You cannot hold on to that even today. And then the geocentric model you have to dismiss. So earth is sitting in between and the sun is going round it. This is geocentric model you have to dismiss. You have to adopt the heliocentric model. After making these two changes, you talk something. Then we can examine it and understand it. You talk a lot many things by holding on to these outdated and wrong models. That doesn't take us anywhere. If
We say have Shraddha in Shastra, so which Shastra?
now Shraddha is not belief.
No, I know, but I'm saying that do we say that have Shraddha in Shastra?
Yeah.
Okay, so that means everything is in Shastra. So which Shastra are we?
That also you have to decide. You have to think and decide. Like, if you do pranayama, your BP will come down. You do like this. You take a BP measuring meter, somewhat accurate or calibrated meter. And then what you do is, record the BP. Then sit upright and inhale deeply. You have to inhale deeply and inhale a little more. Slowly exhale. 1 round. Like that you do 5 rounds. Or even 3 rounds is also enough if you do properly. 5 rounds you do. And check the BP. It will be less. Suppose you have 150 by 85. After this it will be 130 by 80. It will come down. Now you follow pranayama. That is called Shraddha. So what I said, I have examined it and studied it and told you. You are willing to test it. You know that what is told is scientific and told correctly, and so you have that kind of a Shraddha in what I say, and therefore you will test it. You will test it only. You will not